Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into an absolutely fascinating topic that has captured the imagination of thousands of people around the world. Have you ever heard about prophecies that predict the end of times? Yes, those predictions that often leave us with more questions than answers. But what if I told you that there is one particular prophecy that has not only intrigued, but also helped over 20,000 people better understand what this end of times might entail? Intriguing, isn't it? Speech balloon. In today's video, we will explore this mysterious prophecy together. We'll find out where it came from, what exactly it says, and why so many people think it holds special value. Does it really have a solid foundation? Can it teach us something important about how we view our future? Stay with me until the end of the video, and let's unravel this mystery together. Oh, and if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you won't miss any of our content. Ready to start? Let's go. So, where does this mysterious prophecy that we are discussing today come from? Let's go back in time and explore its roots. The prophecy that captured the attention of so many people didn't come out of nowhere. It originates from Norse mythology and was first uttered by Odin, an emblematic figure known for his impactful visions. Globe showing Europe-Africa, this prophecy was revealed during a time of great social turmoil and changes during the Viking period, which perhaps explains why so many people were drawn to its words. The prophet described visions that many interpret as foretelling the end of times, but also as messages of hope and renewal. Thinking about the end of times can be frightening, but often, these prophecies have the power to make us reflect on our own lives and what we value. It's interesting to note how, despite centuries of difference, the prophet's words still resonate with many today. Magnifying glass tilted left, but what exactly did this prophecy say? We'll dive into the details in the next segment. Now that we know where this prophecy comes from, let's explore what it actually says. Imagine being in the time of Odin, hearing these words that promise to reveal the future. The prophecy details a series of events that many interpret as the harbinger of the end of times. Scroll. The prophecy describes Ragnarok, the end of the world according to Norse mythology, as great calamities, changes in nature, upheavals in society, and even signs in the skies. The prophet spoke in a language rich in symbolism and metaphors, which sometimes makes interpretation a real challenge. Thinking face. But what makes this prophecy so special is not just the description of these events, but how it connects all this to a rebirth or a new era for humanity. Amid warnings of destruction, there are messages of hope and renewal. Magnifying glass tilted left, this duality is common in many prophecies and makes us question. Is the end mentioned really the end of everything, or just the beginning of something new? And how do these words apply to our time, centuries after they were spoken? Globe with meridians, this leads us to think about the impact of these words over the centuries. In the next segment, we'll discover how this prophecy spread and captured the imagination of so many people around the world. So far, we've seen where the prophecy came from and what it says, but how exactly did it spread and reach so many people? Let's explore that now. World map. After being spoken, the prophecy was not confined to its place of origin. Thanks to travelers, traders, and later, early printers, it began to spread beyond borders, reaching different cultures and peoples. Books, historians, and scholars of religion have noted that, in each place it passed through, the prophecy was often adapted to fit local beliefs, which only increased its appeal and acceptance. It was discussed in markets, preached from pulpits, and debated in academies. Thinking face, it's fascinating to think about how a single vision can be transformed and reinterpreted in so many different ways, isn't it? This not only shows the universality of the human quest for understanding and meaning, but also how the same prophecy can be seen in various lights, depending on who hears it. Globe showing Europe-Africa. Until the advent of modern media, the prophecy continued to spread, gaining new layers of interpretation and new followers. Today, it has reached global status, discussed in online forums, documentaries, and of course, in videos like this. Chart increasing. This phenomenon of diffusion not only expanded the reach of the prophecy, but also increased the number of people who find in it some form of guidance or comfort. Crystal ball. But what happened when people really started to believe in this prophecy? We'll find out in the next segment, exploring the initial reactions and impacts. After understanding how the prophecy spread throughout the world, let's now see how it was received by people over the centuries. What was the initial impact of this message on those who heard it for the first time? Imagine the scene. Cities and villages where, for the first time, the prophet's words are announced. In many cases, the reactions were one of awe and admiration. After all, the prophecy spoke of monumental, often cataclysmic, events that defied the common understanding of the time. Fire, in some places, the prophecy provoked religious fervor, leading people to drastic changes in their lives. Some saw in the prophet's words a call for spiritual renewal, while others reacted with fear, preparing themselves for what they believed to be the imminent end. Thinking face, it is interesting to note how fear and hope often go together in such prophecies. They not only predict destruction, but also promise renewal. This dualism can be very powerful, influencing decisions of entire communities and even societies. Globe showing Europe-Africa, historically, we see that in some cases, reactions to prophecy even guided political actions and conflicts, showing how a belief can influence the course of history. Now that we've seen the immediate reactions, in the next segment, we'll analyze the veracity and criticism surrounding this prophecy. How do scholars see it today? And what can we learn from it? The time has come to put on our critical lens. The prophecy that has so influenced thousands of people over the centuries, does it hold up under closer scrutiny? Books over the years, many scholars, historians, and scientists have pored over prophetic texts like this, seeking to understand not only their origins, but also their accuracy and real impact. And the truth is that the analysis is quite divided. Faced with monocle on the one hand, some see in the prophet's words a series of metaphors that, in fact, can be applied to various historical events, such as wars, natural catastrophes, and significant social changes. On the other hand, critics argue that many of the predictions are too vague, allowing a wide range of interpretations. Thinking face, for example, the part of the prophecy that talks about signs in the heavens has been associated by some with actual astronomical events such as eclipses and comets, while others see it as symbolism for political or spiritual changes. Open book specialists in religious and mythological studies often use tools such as textual analysis and historical context to decipher these texts. They attempt to discern between what may be a true prediction and what could simply be an interpretation made after events have occurred, a phenomenon known as post-event prophecy. Globe with meridians. So what does this tell us? Well, by studying prophecy, we learn not only about the beliefs of other ages, but also about how we interpret the world around us. Prophecy may not be an exact science, but it certainly reflects the hopes, fears, and values of a culture. And now, after looking back and seeing the various interpretations, let's compare this prophecy with others from different cultures and times. This will help us better understand the universality and diversity of prophecies throughout history. As we explore the depth and impact of our prophecy in question, it is fascinating to see how other cultures and traditions also have their own visions of the end times. Let's make some comparisons to understand the similarities and differences. Books, for example, in Mayan traditions, there are prophecies that speak of great cycles of creation and destruction, known as bactons. Each cycle marks a rebirth after great transformations. This idea of cycles can be compared to the renewal mentioned in our central prophecy. In Norse culture, we have Ragnarok, a series of events including a great battle that would lead to the end of many powerful gods and a new beginning for the world. Again, we see themes of destruction followed by renewal. Glowing star moving east, prophecies in Islam about the Day of Judgment describe a period of judgment and spiritual rebirth where good and evil are ultimately separated. These concepts are echoes of themes found in many Western prophecies. Faced with monocle in looking at these different traditions, we notice that although the details and cultural context may vary, the central theme often remains the same. A period of great tribulation followed by a form of renewal or rebirth. Thinking face, this leads us to ask, why do many cultures have prophecies that share these universal themes? Does this speak to a common concern among humans, regardless of their time and place? Magnifying glass tilted left, Reflecting on these questions not only helps us better understand the prophecies, but also what they might mean for us today. In the next segment, we will look at the current perspective on our prophecy and see how it is interpreted in modern times. After a journey through times and cultures, we arrive at our time, the present. How is our prophecy viewed and interpreted today? And how does it continue to influence people in an era so different from the one in which it was written? Laptop computer, in the digital age, prophecy has reached a global audience like never before. Online forums, podcasts, and YouTube videos like this one allow interpretations and discussions about such prophecies to spread quickly. Chart increasing interestingly, in times of global uncertainty, such as economic crises, pandemics, or natural disasters, many people turn to ancient prophecies seeking answers or some kind of understanding about what is happening. This is evident in the way our prophecy is still often cited in discussions of these events. Handshake, furthermore, accessibility to information has also allowed scholars and interested parties to revisit and re-evaluate interpretations of the prophecy with fresh eyes. This has led to greater critical understanding and deeper debates about its meaning and relevance. Globe showing Europe, Africa. So what can we take away from this? The persistence of this prophecy shows us that regardless of the season, people will always look for greater meanings, especially in difficult times. It challenges us to think about how we interpret signs and events around us and what does that say about us as a society. Link, in the next and final segment, we will reflect on the impact of these prophetic beliefs on our understanding of the world and consider the implications for the future. After our journey exploring this ancient prophecy and how it relates to others around the world, as well as its relevance today, we have come to the end of our video. But before we close, let's reflect on what we learned and how this can help us look to the future. Thinking face prophecies, whether ancient or modern, often reflect people's fears and hopes. They tell us about our concerns about endings and new beginnings, and that is a deeply human thing. Whether we believe them as literal predictions or as metaphors for social change, they make us think about how we face our collective and individual challenges. Globe showing Europe, Africa, in this increasingly connected world, where ideas spread at the speed of light, it is essential that we maintain a critical and open mind. Questioning, exploring, and understanding different perspectives on the end times not only enriches our worldview, but it also strengthens our ability to face the unknown. Loudspeaker, so, I invite you to continue this exploration. Share your own ideas and interpretations about prophecies in the comments below. What do you think they mean? How do they impact your vision of the future?